The Ballad of Andy and Barney. Andy and Barney were lawmen, bravest you ever did see. Warned every crook in the record book to stay out of Mayberry. They were the law.
Yes, they were the law, and they didn't know fear.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I guess to sum it up, you could say there's 3 reasons why there's so little crime in Mayberry. There's Andy, and there's me, and baby makes 3.
Now on MeTV Fresno.
Hi, I'm John Manos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. Today we'll be talking about the rights of seniors here in the state of California. And to a certain extent, we'll be talking about senior abuse. Second half of the program, we'll be talking about an impersonator that'll be in the area tomorrow at a big show. He impersonates people like Bob Hope, Jack Benny, and a few others. Red Skelton. We'll be back with our program here on Connect with Me in a moment. Back here on the program on a Friday morning on the showroom floor at Ventura TV, my friends. It is Friday and the weekend is upon us. It is a holiday weekend, of course, Memorial Day. Hey, by the way, the Indianapolis 500, the greatest spectacle in racing, takes place, of course, this weekend at the Brickyard at Indianapolis. A 500-mile race dates back, more than 100 years. It is a great spectacle, no doubt. And so hope you have a safe holiday weekend this coming weekend. We're going to talk about some senior abuse, senior rights, and all that kind of stuff. And in the second part of the program, we'll talk about an entertainment show that's going to be in our area tomorrow. And it's this guy that comes in and he impersonates Bob Hope, Red Skelton, oh my God, Jack Benny, and he does them all to perfection. Anyway, a reminder here that you're watching us each and every day. Hey, my friends, I get this question all the time. How can I watch your show on the internet? Well, you can't. It's not an internet show. It is a television show. And the only way you can watch us is on Comcast, channel 187, or if you don't have cable, you can watch us on 43.6 or 13.1 over-the-air broadcasting with a digital antenna. Okay, the replay comes over-the-air broadcast, 2 o'clock on 13.6, 8 o'clock at night on 4.6, and then the Twitter account at John Malos, MeTV. So not more than a month ago, we talked about senior abuse on this program with a different guest. He was John Dusich out of Fresno State. Well, did you know that last year the state of California came up with a top 10 list on how to prevent elder abuse? I want to go to the videotape and show you as a reminder, my friend, very disturbing video, I might add. It's called the California Senior Legislature, a volunteer organization. Last October, they announced the top 10 list, and we'll go over that line by line with our guest today. The National Center on Elder Abuse says it's nearly impossible to know how many seniors are actually abused in this country, either through neglect, physical abuse, mental abuse, verbal, exploitation, financial, emotional, and sexual abuse. Yes, and there is no safe haven for seniors here in the area. Nothing like emergency shelters or anything like that. We will discuss this topic today with our guest. Among other things, live in our studio is Robert L. Howk, a local attorney who is in turn with all of the state legislative process and proposals dealing with seniors. He is a senior legislative senator. That's right, it's a volunteer organization. We'll get into that as well. If you have any questions today regarding senior rights, senior abuses, 436-MeTV option 11 is your telephone number today. We're back on a Friday morning on this Friday before Memorial Day weekend.
When you're looking for Whirlpool innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified Whirlpool appliances save you energy and money and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Back with our program here, and you might recall not more than a month ago we talked about Mickey Rooney, the famous actor, in case some of you in our studio and other places might not know who Mickey Rooney was. He was an actor in Hollywood more than 60 years. He did film, he did Broadway. He was one of the all-time greats, and he testified before Congress telling his story about how his stepson financially abused him, threatened him, and almost held him captive in his own house. Robert L. Howk is a local attorney here in tune with all of this. How are you, sir? Good to have you along.
Very good. Thank you for having me on today. I really appreciate the chance to come in and talk about the California Senior Legislature and what we do to protect seniors.
Yeah. You remember the Mickey Rooney testimony in front of Congress, of course, what was that, about 3 or 4 years ago?
Yes.
Very emotional and very gut-wrenching, actually.
It is, and it's one of the fastest growing crimes in the nation right now is elder abuse. Elder abuse is not only financial, it is, like you said, it is emotional, it is physical, it is sometimes sexual assaults.
Gosh.
It's a horrible event, and some of the worst of it is actually the verbal abuse. It's ongoing and constant, because that leaves no scars. It just destroys the elder.
Yeah. Well, I had an older father who was in a rest home. Okay, you talked about verbal abuse. I mean, my father and I used to get into arguments. Okay, he would yell at me, I'd raise my voice, but that's not what we're talking about here. What are we talking about when we're talking about verbal abuse?
Verbal abuse is, give you examples, is a person who can't get up well and move around, and people start yelling at him, calling him lazy, calling him names, abusing him verbally because they can't get up and move around. Or they have an accident, they soil themselves. There's a lot of verbal abuse comes around that way. If they're eating and they're spill stuff, a lot of it will come there, degrading them and demeaning them because they
now that is
something.
Disturbing video right there. Did you see
Yes,
that
it is.
nurse
Yes.
slapping him? That's terrible.
And
Awful.
It's a horrible thing. If you have a senior someplace, one of the things I would recommend that you do is if you suspect it, and by the time you suspect it's far down the road on abuse, get one of these nanny cams and put it in where your senior is, because otherwise you'll never know.
But what do you do when I can only revert back to my father. You know what? Gosh, that video just bothers me. I can hardly look at. Maybe we should just get out of that video. I don't want to see that woman hitting that man anymore. It's very disturbing. But I used to get into these arguments with my dad because my dad wanted to do too much on his own. I was afraid he was going to get hurt. For example, my dad would walk down to McDonald's by himself with his cane. He's like 91 years old, and he was crossing this busy street. It was a 4-lane. It was like the Pasadena freeway almost, and he was crossing, and some high school kid helped him along the street. And I was saying, you cannot do that. And I was like raising my, that's trying to protect your elder though, right?
That's called protecting your elder, yes, and it's something you need to do. There's several talks between family members, parents and child. One of the hardest ones is the one you have to have with your parent when you understand they can't drive anymore. That's one of them, when they can't get around by themselves anymore. Because independence is a big thing. I'll go back to my grandfather. He had lost a leg due to diabetes complications, couldn't drive. It was a horrible fight within the family to keep him from getting in a car and driving.
Well, my dad was driving with no license and no insurance. His license had run out. He didn't go renew it. He was 91. He said, forget it.
I've had a client who took the keys from his mother, who had a severe case of dementia, to keep her from driving, because she would get lost and call him and say, and he was out of town, and say, I'm so-and-so place, how do I get home? And so finally he got smart and he took the distributor cap out of the car because she kept hiding keys.
Yeah.
So there's only so much you can do with legislation. You have to have a lot of hands-on work with your seniors.
And I got to say that, you know, I remember both my mother and father, I used to, you know, the tables turned because I was lecturing them instead of them lecturing me. And I remember my parents, both of them telling me, don't lecture me, I'm your parent. Well, you know, they didn't realize I was trying to protect their best interest. I didn't want them getting hurt. I love them. I don't want anybody, you know, taking advantage of them. And the tables do turn, though, right?
Yes, they do. It comes full circle, as we say.
Yeah.
There was a movie with George Burns was in. He had three of his friends. They were going to go rob a bank, and he suddenly looks down and he wet his pants, and he said, "My God, I'm going back to diapers. I've come full circle." Well, it is true. You do kind of go full circle, and it is a hard thing to do. And the senior legislature can recommend a lot of laws, but there's nothing that you could beat with hands-on training.
Yeah.
Get some training. Valley Caregivers Resource Center is a good place to get respite care because some of this care ends up being 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah. Let's take a call here. And caller, you're on the air with Robert Howk. He's a local attorney. If you have any questions, go ahead and fire away.
Yes, my name is Mona Maldonado, and I had my mother in Lindsay Convalescent Hospital in California. And my mother was abused that caused her death.
Oh.
On her medical record, it did not show that she needed to take her nitroglycerin under her tongue when she gets angina, and she's been taking that for 23 years. And now that she was staying at the Lindsay Convalescent Hospital, they had no record of that. And I know my mother would have lived if they would have given her nitroglycerins under her tongue. So therefore, it was their negligence for the cause of my mother dying.
All right, stay on the line there, caller. Does she have a case here? I know you're an attorney.
She probably does. I do not do nursing home litigation abuse cases. We do the physical abuse. The nursing home is a very particular subset on the abuse thing.
Tough case to prove?
Yes, it is a tough case to prove, but it's not unprovable. How long ago did this happen?
This happened a year ago on December the 2nd of 2014. I've been finding it hard for me to accept this because my mom and I were very close, so now it's really hit me to where she is dead. And I'm looking into an attorney to look under the records of my mother's medical care. And she would have lived if they would have given it to her because she had been taking it for 23 years. And I found that very irresponsible of the doctor that did not state that down.
Yeah.
And I placed my concerns very serious for my mother because there's no bringing her back now.
Yeah.
And I did get this personally from a nurse there that they stated they do not have on their record nitroglycerin, and I was concerned, why don't they have that?
Stay on the line there, ma'am.
Okay. What I would recommend, if you want to contact an attorney, there's an organization called the California Advocates for Nursing Home Reform. They're based in San Francisco. Prescott Cole is their lead attorney. If you go to that organization, we belong to it. My wife is my law partner, and I both belong to Cantor. They have a list of attorneys that they can refer you to that would talk to you more in depth about this.
What's the name of that again?
It's the California Advocates for Nursing Home Reform.
California Advocates
for Nursing Home Reform.
For Nursing Home Reform. Did you get that, ma'am?
Yes, I have that. Do you happen to have the phone number?
No, I don't know the phone number, but I can tell you can go to a website, and it's CANHR, nursinghomereform.org.
CANHR.
Yeah, CANHR.org.
There you go.
Okay. I'll look that up so that way I can have more information on my mother's case. I thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate all of the input that you have given me. And you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Have a great holiday weekend. Got to take a break here. We're talking with Robert L. Howk. He is a local attorney specializing in senior, issues here in the state of California and what their rights are, and also dealing to a certain extent with senior abuse. Back with our program in a moment.
Retro TV, your home for classic television. The greatest shows in history are here for you to enjoy. Join Cosby and Colt as secret agent men in I Spy. Ride along the Ponderosa with the Cartwrights in Bonanza. Hit the beat with Joe Friday in Dragnet. And that's not all. Retro TV offers endless fun and excitement for the whole family to enjoy. Retro TV, the best in classic television.
You can find Retro TV on over-the-air channel 13.4.
I have worked almost my entire lifetime in the business I love, to entertain and to please other people. I am here today because it's so important that I share my story with others. I was unable to avoid becoming a victim of elder abuse. Elder abuse comes in many, many different forms. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, and financial abuse. Even with success, my monetary thing, called money, was stolen from me. Yet stolen.
Mickey Rooney, the longtime actor, 60 years in Hollywood, talking about his misfortune about being abused by his stepson. We've got Robert Howk here, a local attorney, and I want to give out that website one more time if you do have a problem. It's canhr.org. If one of your elders has been abused and you think you have a case, you can look up that phone number on the website. It's called the California Advocates for Nursing Home Reform. Get an attorney, see if you have a case, investigate, and then let the chips kind of fall where they may. I do want to talk about the California Senior Legislature. Now, let me explain there. This is a legislative senior body whose primary mission is to gather ideas for legislation for both state and federal governments. Now, this is a volunteer organization, as I understand it?
Yes, it is.
Tell me more about it.
It was established about 35 years ago. Long time back, I was a deputy sheriff in Santa Cruz County, and Henry Mello was a member of the Board of Supervisors from the Watsonville area.
Eventually became a state legislature, right?
He became a state senator.
Okay.
And they started the California Senior Legislature. It was under a different name back then. I think it was Silver.
So this is back in the 80s, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And it became the California Senior Legislature. We all serve as a volunteer basis. There's one paid staff member, Janice Bailey up in Sacramento. The woman is just incredible. She does so much work for us up there. What we do is there's it's divided into assembly people and senators. I'm the state senator from this area. There's not an assembly person from this area. There's only one of, it's either one or the other.
Okay.
And then we meet in Sacramento 4 days a year. We won't meet this year because we're not funded by state funds. We're funded by voluntary contributions, and a lot of it comes off the state income tax form 540. There's a box to check and send in money, but as the e-filing has gone up, the contributions have gone down because people don't see the box. They scroll down to where they have to sign their name, and they sign their name and they're gone, and they're not donating.
Okay.
But we recommend 10 proposals to the state legislature every year. We recommend 4 to the federal.
Yeah, and I want to put some of those up on the screen right now. Let's put up number 1. The following is a list of the top 10 state legislative proposals. There is proposal number 1. You can read that for yourself there, Robert, right?
Yes.
What is that now? Prescription use for drugs, right?
Right, and the Pharmaceutical Association's on board with this. Currently, use me as an example. I had heart surgery recently. I came home with a bucket full of medications. They all had names on it, which I can't pronounce, although I'm educated at the University of California. And I didn't know what they were for. You're supposed to take them so many times a day. Well, I have some experience in workers' comp, so I knew what some of them were, but a lot of them I didn't know. So I knew that the Oxycontin they were prescribed for my chest pain, I knew that was a narcotic. So I stopped taking that as soon as I could. But other drugs, I didn't know if I had to have it or if it was based on how I feel. So
what does your governing body do about prescriptions?
What we did is we put a proposal, and it's been picked up and sponsored by a bill, and it's going through the process now. It will require pharmacies to label what the drug is for, as well as the name of it and how often you're supposed to take it. So if you have a caregiver working with somebody, they know that they're giving him something for their heart, or if there is a as-needed pain medication.
Okay.
So you know what you're giving it to them for.
All right. Proposal number 2, the personal income tax proposal. And what does this entail here?
This is a governing directed to businesses with 100 or more employees. Will allow them to make that same tax-deductible contribution to the California Senior Legislature. Currently, we were only on the 540 form, which is strictly for individuals. We wanted to expand it so we can get donations from businesses.
But does this have anything to do with seniors filing their own taxes? Is there help here for anyone who wants to file and can't personally do it because they're in a rest home, or perhaps they need home health care and someone has to file for them? Do you guys provide services?
Not out of the California Senior Legislature doesn't provide services. We will work to set up those services and put people in place.
Okay.
And currently you can get help. It's sometimes not immediately available, and that may be a proposal for the future that we want to take up.
Right. What is the Silver Alert program?
Everybody's heard of the Amber Alert program. The Silver Alert program is when a senior citizen, most often somebody with dementia, or even if they're not a senior, if they're severely disabled or they have some type of mental cognitive disability, they wander away from home or their facility, it goes out like the Amber Alert does to keep track of these people. And in the Fresno area alone, I see 4 or 5 times a year this comes up where somebody with dementia wanders away.
You see it on the news.
You see it on the news. Oftentimes these people are found alive. Sometimes it's, unfortunately, they're not found in time.
Yeah. Okay, we're talking with Robert L. Howk. He is a special attorney who specializes in state legislative proposals dealing with seniors and senior rights. He's a senior advocate. He talks about senior abuse all the time as well. Your phone calls, 436-MeTV option 11. Got an open line, and we're good to go and ready to go just for you. Back in a moment.
We need help to find this missing child. Patrick Alford was 8 when he went missing. He was last seen in Brooklyn, New York in January of 2010. This is what we believe he looks like today at age 12. If you have any information, please call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST. That's 1-800-843-5678. Please help bring Patrick Alford home.
Back here on the program today talking about senior rights, and Robert Howk is here, a local attorney that can answer just about any question that you want. And you've done litigation in regards to seniors, have you not?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, and have you I imagine you've won a lot of those cases.
Sometimes it's bittersweet, because oftentimes by the time someone figures out there's a problem, all the money is just gone.
Too late, huh?
Yeah, I won a case, but the grandson had already taken all grandma's cash and had mortgaged her property. So,
oh, man.
And if these people had money, they wouldn't be stealing from the seniors, so you're never going to get it back.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
Jeez.
It's rare, very rare that we can get it back.
All right, now every time, and I was doing some reading up on this a little bit last night on the internet, the California Death with Dignity Act. Every time I look at this one, you can put that one up, I think of one person. I think of Dr. Jack Kevorkian. I don't know why, but it's, you know, many of these people who have had medical issues and they just want to check out. They don't want to deal with it. They want to die with dignity. Explain what this one is, because I did a lot of reading and it's a little convoluted. Let's take this call first, and then you can react to that. Caller, go ahead.
Yes. I was a letter carrier in the city of Clovis for 25 years. Now, I had 4 of the trailer parks they're all senior parks. And we lost one of them to the Alzheimer because he climbed over a fence and he was 90 years old.
Wow.
They later found him by the canal dying of exposure.
Ooh.
I always thought, why hasn't anybody ever offered GPS tracking on a volunteer basis to these seniors so that they do escape, that they'll be able to find them before they die by the canals?
Wow, that's a good idea.
It's a good idea. The premise is, of course, is that they're in a secure facility, and if you check into facilities, if there's a facility, they have to have a dementia care where they can't get out of the dementia care unit, in theory. I've seen a case that is a case where the person had dementia, was in one of these locked facilities, and got out. And it got she was sitting in a chair outside, they don't know how long, but she had a really severe sunburn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was past the blistering state.
Whoa.
So
right.
she must have been out there for hours, but there was supposedly a locked facility. That's negligence on the facility's part.
California Death with Dignity Act. There it is right there. What does this one mean specifically? Does that mean that you want to die with dignity? Is that what that means?
It allows people to die in a dignity way, and with their own choosing and their own time. If they have an incurable condition, such as cancer, as one lady recently went to Oregon to take advantage of Oregon's law, and you can do that. I have a friend, Eden Rose Brown, up in Oregon. She's a good attorney up there, and I asked her because one of my clients asked me if they could go to Oregon if that time came and choose the manner in which they died, and they can. As an attorney, I understand the moral issues of it. I also understand it's not for everybody, but it's a choice that I think people ought to be offered. I watched my stepfather die of a cancer that slowly choked him to death. And it's not pleasant. And there comes a point where you're just not going to get any better, and your life is so miserable, and you want to go and die with some kind of dignity, with your family around, and have some type of decent closure in your life.
You know, I
support the bill.
I think back to how my parents passed away. And I guess I need to count my lucky stars because they just fell asleep, boom, just never woke up.
I want to go.
Don't we all wish we could go like that?
Well, yeah. My cousin Jack just fell over dead in his roses one day, and
yeah,
everybody would like to see that happen.
But that's just not the cards for everybody.
It's not.
And so the healthcare dementia training. Okay, what's this one about? As we put that up on the screen there, what is this?
Most facilities do not train people in dementia screening.
Okay.
And it's sometimes, if a person is in the early stages of dementia, it may be hard to recognize, and the treatment and how they're handled can be adverse to their condition. And I can give you an example of it. A woman was given medications. She was taken by a CHP for driving her little scooter down the road, taken into to emergency clinic. They took her off all of her meds immediately, as they often do. The withdrawal from the medication gave her signs of dementia. Nobody in the ER was trained in dementia to know if she's showing signs of dementia, is it because you took away her meds?
Yeah.
And then they put her in a facility, and she was very upset about it, rightfully so. And she wanted to get out, but they wanted to forcibly medicate her all all the problem was they'd taken off her meds too soon.
So you want these nurses to be fully trained in dementia, and that's what their specialty would be?
Yes.
All right. And again, these are proposals, right? These are not actually state law. This is what you're proposing to the state legislature, many of these proposals?
Yes.
To enact and put them into law?
Yes.
Okay, we're talking with Robert Howk. He is an attorney, and he specializes in many of these types of cases. He's litigated cases before on senior abuse. 436-MeTV, option 11. We encourage you to call in if you have a question or two. Back in a moment.
A top secret location. It's the spies who love me, bringing together MeTV's top super spies to fight evil at a memorable moment's notice. They're daring.
That's right.
Brave.
Now what are we gonna do?
The best we can.
Suave.
Does that apply to me, Oscar?
Possibly.
And smart.
The yellow finger in the gun trick.
Maxwell Smart.
MeTV Fresno, channel 43.6 and Xfinity 187.
Back here with Robert Howk, and he is a local attorney talking about 10 proposals that he has up for grabs here for state legislation, and it's not state law yet, but these are proposals that he wants to slip into the state legislature so they could take a look at them and maybe enact some of these, right?
Right.
All right, let's take a look at number 6. That would be fall risk screening education for health. Does this mean a senior who is at risk for falling?
Yes.
That's what that means. And what does this entail quickly?
It just means to assess them for a fall risk. Some seniors are more likely to fall than others.
Who do you want to assess them? Like a potential nursing home that they might be going into?
Yes.
Okay.
Any medical facility. We'd like to have this, the California Medical Association would like to have continuing education to screen seniors for falling. It is the #1 hospitalization thing, if I remember my charts right.
Yep, it really is. All right, identity theft is a big one, not only for seniors, but anybody around the country. Number 7, what are you doing in this area?
Currently, the law can be charged as a misdemeanor or a felony. We'd like to see it be a felony for senior victims. And the reason being is that seniors are more susceptible to this, for one thing, and two, it's harder for them to recover from this.
Yeah, it really is. And you're encouraging the state legislature to make this a law that would encourage them to send anybody to prison for up to 2 years of a felony conviction in the identity theft crime of a person who is 65 years or older. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
All right. How about elder-friendly courts? What does this one mean?
Senior citizens have different needs and things when they go to court. They don't arrive easily at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. for some court calls. They need more frequent breaks to go to the bathroom. It just needs to be more friendly. Now, Fresno has been one of the leaders. Our courts has an elder-friendly court.
All right. This one we talked about before we went on the air today, Medi-Cal long-term care. This means if you own a home and you have very little money in the bank, but you go into a rest home and the nursing facility, you're in there for 5 years and it costs, and Medi-Cal takes over the payments. Now, upon your passing, they will take your home, will they not?
Yes, they will. And this bill is really, if you go into a nursing home and you're on Medi-Cal, you're only allowed to get $35 a month. And for the ladies, they can't get their hair done for $35 a month. They'd like to see it increase to $80 a month personal care allowance. If it's a single senior and that's all, they will take the home after. Even a married couple, they will take the home afterwards. If you don't do planning ahead should be at least 5 years.
Planning ahead means, and I want to be specific here, if you have money in the bank and you want to transfer it to a brother, a sister, your son, your daughter, it's got to be done at least 30 months in advance, right?
Currently, yes, and it's going to go to 5 years. And we don't recommend that. There's just giving away money, because it can be done if that's what your plan is. You need to consult with an attorney. Make sure that what you're doing is right and it's going to work for you down the road. That's the hard part.
All right, number 10, Alzheimer's disease prevention, early intervention programs. Here, this one kind of speaks for itself, right?
Yes, it does. We just like to see people screened. And bear in mind, doctors and lawyers can both be fooled, by people with dementia. I carried on a conversation in my office one day with a lady who I knew was in stage 4, which is in the last stages of Alzheimer's. She carried on about a 4 or 5 minute conversation with me. And if I didn't know what she had, I probably would have just passed it as a bad day. I've seen doctors fooled. One of my friends, a doctor, was saying somebody came in to see him. One of his patients was elderly, and he had asked him how he was doing the yard work. Because yard work was always one of this guy's favorite things. Turns out that he had hired somebody to do all of his yard work years before. Didn't own a lawnmower anymore, but yet he was telling the doctor he was cutting his lawn every week and doing all of his yard work.
All right.
So you just don't know.
All right, I got 4 proposals here that you're pitching to the feds. Let's put up number 1. U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs would require the Department of Veterans Affairs to identify and acknowledge veterans who participated in weapons testing programs. Wow, I looked at that last night and go, wow, okay. What does that mean?
Specifically, they were referring to an operation called Operation Shad, where these guys tested certain biological and chemical weapons.
During World War II or something? Or?
During the Cold War. And they worked off of Navy ships, and they were, one of the things that they did was they used these benign, if that's the right word for it, anthrax things, where you didn't get it, but they get tested in the population. They would spray it off the coast and see if it showed up inland.
All right. What about number 2, the public housing priority for seniors? Proposal would give priority for housing assistance to eligible seniors, meaning specifically what?
If they're eligible for public housing benefits, we'd like to see the seniors come to the top.
Okay.
Just in a nutshell, that's what that one is.
All right. What about the Elder Justice Act? What's this one here?
The Elder Justice Act was enacted by Congress. Like, they don't fund things all the time.
But they did this one.
They did. They passed the act, but they didn't fund it. So we'd like to have them funded so they could.
$25 million?
Yes.
Okay.
To work with the to fund that and help elders get justice through the courts in different places.
All right, and the final one, the Comprehensive Drug Trial Act. What's this one all about?
I didn't know about this until about a year ago when I found out that when they do drug testing, they test the middle range of the population. In other words, people 20 to say 40 or 50. They don't always record the results by race, by sex, and seniors were excluded.
Okay.
So the drugs will have a different effect on seniors than they will a 30-year-old male.
Okay.
So they want to have the seniors included in this screening so that they know that, say, aspirin isn't good for somebody over 65.
Right.
You need to do some other type of drug.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I clarify one thing? I am an elder law attorney. I am senior senator from this area, so
right.
I
just want to clarify. Okay, the proposals that we put up on the screen are not law, except for one of them that was enacted by Congress earlier this year. It's called the Elder Justice Act. So your organization, how do you convince a legislative body like the one in Sacramento to enact all of these proposals and take them and pass them, vote on them, pass them, have the governor sign? Governor has to sign them. Don't forget.
Right.
Okay.
Or they have to override his veto.
Yeah, or they have to override his veto. How do you get these enacted?
Well, 7 out of the 10 are currently going through the legislative process right now that we've recommended.
Okay, which 3 are not? Which numbers?
I didn't break them out that way.
Okay.
The Death with Dignity Act, the medical professions withdrew their objections to it the other day.
So 7 of the 10 are already being discussed.
Right.
In the state legislature.
Right. What we do is we have a our senior legislative session, and then we conduct a rally, if you will, a meeting at the state legislature, introduce these to the legislators, and hope that we can get one of them to pick up one of the bills. That's where Janice Bailey comes in. She helps organize this process. And they talk to the different legislators, show them the proposals we have, and they pick up. About 60%, I think, if my elder memory serves me correctly, about 60% of their proposals over time have become law.
Okay, so eventually all 10 will become law.
But they might become law.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
Yes.
In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And your job as the California senior legislative body encourages, or has how much pull in Sacramento? Quickly.
The seniors are our big voting bloc. This was set up by the legislature, so they are in tune with us. We get a good ear.
Do you guys have PACs and special interest groups that you can turn to? You don't?
No, we're a volunteer organization.
Wow.
We go up, walk the halls, talk to these people. I've been talking with Jim Patterson down here, been getting good responses for him. I just got a response from Henry Perea. So,
do you have a place where people can donate money if they want?
Yes, they can.
And what number do they call?
They can go to the website of the number 4csl.org, and they can go on there and get it. They can become a friend of the California Senior Legislature, donate money through there. Or if they're still filing their taxes this year on the extension, you can check the box and send a check along with it.
All right, quickly, your phone number?
My phone number is 229-8109.
229-8109. If you want to contact Robert L. Howk, a special attorney, he knows all about the senior issues, whether it's senior abuse, senior state law, proposals that they're trying to enact into law. Robert, good to see you.
Nice to be on here with you. I appreciate it.
And come back again, sir.
I will.
All right. I appreciate your time.
Not a
Have
problem.
a great Memorial Day weekend. I appreciate it. And our thanks to Robert L. Howk. Contact him if you want to or can. We're back with our second guest here on Connect with Me on a Friday morning in a moment.
A top secret location. It's the Spies Who Love Me, bringing together MeTV's top super spies to fight evil at a memorable moment's notice. They're daring.
That's right.
Brave.
Now what are we gonna do?
The best we can.
Suave.
Does that apply to me, Oscar?
Possibly.
And smart.
The old finger in the gun trick.
Maxwell Smart.
MeTV Fresno, channel 43.6 and Xfinity 187.
Is taking care of laundry taking too much of your time? Have you become a missing mom? With a new fast, efficient washer and dryer from Ventura TV Video Appliance, you'll spend more of your day the way you want. Save now on Frigidaire's Advanced Affinity Laundry Pair. Let Frigidaire save you energy, water, and time. Don't spend your life on laundry. Upgrade today at Ventura TV Video Appliance and save.
Tune in to Heartland for the best in true country music. Relive vintage specials, one-of-a-kind concerts, and country music's earliest videos. Heartland is the heart of country, the only place where you can find country music, country stars, and country lifestyles 24/7. Heartland, the heart of country.
Now on channel 13.2.
It's almost time.
Now we'll find out once and for all about Clark Kent and Superman.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a TV show.
Yes, but who is he? What's his name?
He's Superman.
Golly, Clark, won't that be wonderful seeing Superman?
Fighting a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and television the MeTV way.
No one can do the things that Superman does.
The adventures of Superman.
Now on MeTV Fresno, Xfinity 187.
Hello, I'm John Walsh. We need your help to capture this fugitive. Francisco Molina Nieve has been on the run since March 2008. The police and the FBI need your help tracking this coward down. He's wanted for brutally beating his girlfriend and for the use of a firearm. He has 3 freckles and a crescent shape under his right eye. Call the Colorado FBI at 303-629-7171 if you know where he's hiding.
We get our speed from Mom and Dad. They do stuff super fast. And now they got this new kitchen, so they're even faster. So they can help us with our free throws.
The time-saving Frigidaire Gallery line with a quick preheat and smudge-proof stainless steel that resists fingerprints and cleans easily. It's mealtime in no time, from start to clean. Frigidaire Gallery.
Save more during Frigidaire Gallery bonus days when you buy 3 or more qualifying appliances. See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
can watch Dr. TV on over-the-air channel 13.9.
Back here on a Friday morning on the program, connect with me on MeTV Fresno. A reminder that tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the Selma Arts Center, that would be 1935 High Street in Selma, this show takes place, a tribute to Bob Hope and the radio stars of the 1940s. Can you name the radio stars of the 1940s? Now, mind you, I wasn't born in the 1940s, but I do know who the radio stars were in the 1940s. One of those stars was none other than Bob Hope. Let's take a look at the impersonator who does him.
Yes, thanks for the memories of candlelight and wine, castles on the Rhine, Parthenon and moments on the Hudson River line. How lovely it was. So thanks for the memories, sunburns on the shore and nights in Singapore. All of the road pictures with Bing and Dorothy Lamour. I thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thanks for the memories, Bob. I appreciate it very much. Alive in our studio now is Chuck Carson. He is the announcer. He's the producer. He's the chief cook and bottle washer. Thank goodness we have him in the house, and thank goodness he's putting on these shows. It just brings back so many memories of Bob Hope, Chuck. I love that man. Met him a few times, too, at Pebble Beach. Very gracious guy. But the radio stars of the 1940s, shall we list? I know who they are. Shall we list them for all those people out there who don't know who they are?
Well, there were a ton of stars, but we have three of them along with Bob Hope.
But the primary ones.
Right.
I mean, you got Bob Hope, Jack Benny, Jimmy Durante,
right.
Oh my gosh, and Red Skelton.
Right. Each had their own radio show.
Yeah, eventually television.
And they went on to TV, right.
Yeah. So who is this impersonator? Tell us
His
about
name is Lynn Roberts, and Lynn is out of Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
Actually got his start he's a professional musician by trade, and formed a big band and was touring the country, played with some of the great older bands like Wayne King, etc. But one day he was just fooling around during a rehearsal, and he came up with Jack Benny and did some lines, and the guy said, you know, if you put on the glasses, you could be Benny.
Speaking of which, shall we take a look at him?
Yeah.
He's doing Jack Benny. Let's take a look.
Yeah, he's going to do Jack Benny in the show.
Can't wait.
Well, gee, it's wonderful being here in Corpus Christi. You know, I didn't know if I was going to make it, because when I left Los Angeles, I went down to the LAX airport, walked in with my violin case, and security thought I had a machine gun in there. What are you going to do? So security took me aside. They said, open up that case, mister. So I opened it up. I said, look, it's just a violin, and you know you can't hurt anybody with a violin. And the guy said, I don't know. I've heard you play, Mr. Benny. But a couple of weeks ago, they had a Jack Benny look-alike contest. So I said to Phil Harris, my orchestra leader in Rochester, I said, just for a joke, I'm going to enter the look-alike contest. I came in fourth.
He does it, and he's amazing. One of the anecdotes I could tell you is that generally, after every show, we meet the audience in the lobby. And invariably, one or two of the people in the audience will say to me or to him, because he comes out as Bob Hope, I'd love to meet the actor that does Jack Benny, or I'd like to meet the actor that does Red Skelton, and it's all the same guy.
Yeah. 2 of the 4 I actually had the pleasure of meeting in person. Bob Hope, as I said, and Red Skelton, but I don't know. He also does Jimmy Durante. Shall we take a look at him?
Let's see him doing Jimmy.
Before we do that, why do you put this show on?
Well, I put it on because I first met Lynn back in 2007 when I produced a USO show for public television for Channel 18. And he was such a great talent, and I said, you know, there's just not a lot of work for a guy just going around doing impressions.
Yeah.
So I tried to find a venue that would work for him, and so I came up with the concept of a 1940s NBC radio broadcast.
You know what I wish would happen now, and I know it's not going to happen? We don't have a guy like Bob Hope that entertains the troops anymore. We really don't. There isn't one entertainer who really does it on a regular basis.
No, not anymore.
I wish a guy like Jay Leno or a guy like David Letterman, both now retired, would go overseas and do that, maybe together as a duo.
I just think things are so different. I think it was a lot simpler back in the days when, as simple as it can be, when Bob or any of the crew decided to do a USO show, was call the government, get a booking on a plane, but now I'm sure you've got to go
It's
through.
a lot more complex now with the terrorist groups out there.
That's it, and it's not the same. So.
Yeah, it's probably not the same. But all right, take a look at Jimmy Durante in action, the impersonator, not the real one.
Once upon a time they sang that Bodie-O-Do, but that was long ago. And everybody started in the poo-poo-be-doo, but they got tired of that, you know. How do you like those guys? Everybody puts in their own notes. I overlook it, but the tune for you and me is that swinging symphony. A-dig-a-dee, a-dig-a-doo, a-dig-a-dee. Oh, what a tune for crew. I don't know why it is everybody asks Durante for advice. The other day, the lady across the street came running after me. Mr. Durante, Mr. Durante, what am I gonna do? I said, well, what's your problem? She says, every night when my husband comes home from work, he runs upstairs, fills up the bathtub, gets out his fishing pole, and all night long he's fishing in the bathtub. I said, well, why don't you take him to one of them psychological arsonists? She says, I ain't got no time. I'm too busy cleaning fish.
You may notice the nose that the actor is wearing, and that is an actual mold of Jimmy Durante's nose, which we got from a Hollywood makeup artist.
So he's the real lookalike.
That's the real lookalike. That's the nose.
All right, let's put the flyer up. It's tomorrow at the Selma Arts Center, and that is at 1935 High Street in Selma. There it is. The 4 biggest radio stars of the 1940s: Bob Hope, Jack Benny, Jimmy Durante, and Red Skelton. Okay, so how does he do so many so well?
I have no idea, and neither does he. And he captures the persona, and once he gets into the character, he's it. I mean, that's.
How does he get in there? How does he get in there? He gets into their head.
Well, when he exits the stage as one character, and I do a few things and some commercials, etc. Then he comes back, and he's already set and prepped to be introduced as the next artist.
Natural talent.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Huh?
Very much.
Does he have are his lines? Are they scripted out?
I guess. Well, I mean,
he's off the top of his head. He has an outline.
He's had to memorize the jokes that he's doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just like the real comedians.
Just like the real comedians.
All right. Red Skelton is another one he does. I remember the Red Skelton show when I was a kid on television.
He is right on here.
Oh, thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's so nice to be here. You folks hear about Gertrude and Heathcliff, the two seagulls that are flying along over Pismo Beach, you know? Yeah, they're flying along, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. All of a sudden, a jet airplane went by, see? Gertrude said, wow, did you see that? He twisted, I most certainly did. She said, well, why don't you fly like that? He said, well, I would if my tail was on fire. The other day I was riding a bus. See, I'm riding this bus and a guy gets on, he puts a package up overhead, you know, and it started to drip. So I reached out and caught a few drops. I was curious. And I tasted a few drops and I looked at him and I said, oh my goodness, Polish pickles? He said, no, French poodle puppies.
Oh my God. Oh.
He's fantastic. We have a new show that we're going to premiere in January called Red Sails Into the Sunset, which is a tribute to Red and all of his great characters in full costume.
Yeah, he was also an artist.
Yes, he was a great artist.
The real Red Skelton
Right,
was an artist.
right.
And has many paintings
Exactly.
around the country, maybe
Yep.
around the world, I don't know.
And
I'd love to have one of his, but
I'm sure they're expensive.
they're more than I can afford.
He also loves, Freddie the Freeloader is actually a commentary on his dad. His dad was a professional clown.
Yeah.
And so when he decided to put his work together, he came up with Freddie the Freeloader as a direct tribute to his father.
Yeah. Yeah, and amazing. So the show again is at the Selma Arts Center
Right.
at 2 o'clock. How much are tickets?
Tickets are only $10 because the American Legion Post 12 in Selma was kind enough to sponsor the show so that tickets could be at a nominal price for veterans to come and enjoy the show. It's actually a salute to veterans show. That's really what we're focusing on. It's Memorial Day weekend, so if you have a veteran in the house and you have the opportunity and time, why don't you come on down to Selma, 1935 High Street, the Selma Arts Center.
Yeah, and if you want to call the number down there, it's 891-2238.
Right.
891-2238.
Until 4 today.
Until 4 o'clock today. Now, can you pre-order your tickets by phone?
Yes, you can. And then whatever,
card.
there may be just a few left. I understand tickets were going very well.
What do they hold over there at the Selma Arts Center?
I think it's only about 250 seats. So
that's it?
Yeah, yeah. It's.
Why don't you do one here in Fresno?
It's a beautiful. Well, we have been in Fresno many years ago, so we're hoping that we can come on back. Yes.
Yeah, eventually. And so you're going to do another show of this kind when after tomorrow?
Well, after tomorrow, then we move on to Colorado in June, and also off to Hawaii and a few other great places.
You getting big crowds?
Yes, yeah. Average crowd normally is going to be anywhere between 600 to 800.
Okay, and they leave satisfied, I'm assuming.
Oh, a lot of times they have us come back.
Yeah,
because we do a holiday show. We do a Christmas show, which is different than what you get when you get this particular show.
All right, a tribute to Bob Hope and the radio stars of the 1940s. That would be Bob Hope, Jack Benny, Jimmy Durante, and Red Skelton. That's tomorrow at the Selma Arts Center, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 891-2238. Chuck Carson, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to be here, John.
I love having you on the show. You're funny. You're funny yourself. You like this kind of stuff, I know.
I love it. I love it.
All right, Chuck Carson. Hey, go out and check out the program and have a great Memorial Day weekend. Back here on Monday with our guy. Who's our guy? Oh, Ronnie Paul.
Oh, Ronnie.
Yes, Ronnie Paul will be here to talk about all kinds of funny stuff, my friends. I'm going to really give him a bad time about his Dodgers on Monday. See you then. Have a great, safe weekend.